Does your dog absolutely lose its mind over squirrels? Does it seem like every word you say vanishes the second the plastic bag blows by? Um, have you ever watched your perfectly sweet companion suddenly lunge after a jogger or a cat, leaving you completely frustrated, embarrassed, and totally helpless? Well, here's the thing. This isn't necessarily obedience. It might be a sign, might not be a sign of a bad dog. It could be ancient, hardwired predatory instincts that your dog is desperate to express. This behavior is a throwback to the wolf ancestors. It's a series of actions that help them survive. It's called the predatory motor pattern, and understanding that it is the secret to building a phenomenal relationship with your dog. So, for generations, humans have selectively bred dogs, cranking up certain parts of the sequence while trying to mute others. A border collie's intense stare and stalk, they were fine-tuned for the herding, while the golden retriever's grab bite was softened to gently carry out game back to its handler. The result of this is that every single dog, from a tiny terrier right through to a Great Dane, has its own unique mix of these primal urges. For some, part of the sequence may be turned up to 11, while in others, it's been almost completely suppressed. But when these needs aren't met, they don't just go away. They sort of boil over, leading to frustration, stress, and the very behaviours that drive us nuts. But what if instead of fighting these instincts, you could actually fulfill them? So today we're going to be breaking down the 8 hidden predatory patterns driving your dog's behaviour and showing you how to transform them into fun, fulfilling games that will leave you with a happier, calmer, and a more well-behaved companion. So the first part of the predatory motor pattern is the Orient. It all starts with a single subtle moment. The Orient, this is the instant your dog first detects something interested in the environment. It's a reflex, it's not a conscious choice. Their head might snap up, or their ears might pivot like satellite dishes, or their body may just freeze. It could be a sound you can't even hear, a flicker of movement, or the scent on the breeze. This is your dog's ancient radar system kicking in, and it's saying something is out there. For many of us, this is the first moment we lose our dog's attention. But instead of seeing it as the start of a problem, we need to see it as the start of an opportunity. Meeting this need for environmental awareness is one of the easiest and also one of the most important things we can do. So, how do we make a game of it? First up, the find it game. While your dog is in another room, hide a few high value treats or favourite toy. Then let them in with an excited voice, say, go find it. This gets them using their nose and ears to pinpoint a hidden treasure, satisfying that deep-seated need to search. Another thing we can look at, so let's talk about put my teeth in, the sniffari. So this is a walk where your dog is the tour guide. Instead of dragging them along on a power walk down the pavement, you let their nose lead the way. Let them stop and investigate every fascinating smell on that fire hydrant. Let them spend a minute deciphering their P-mail left behind on a patch of grass. This is pure sensory enrichment that lets them gather information about their world, which is deeply calming and a fulfilling activity. So next up in the predatory motor pattern is the eye. And what this means is after your dog orientates on something, the next stage kicks in. This is where their focus locks onto the target with laser-like intensity. You've seen this at the park when your dog freezes and stares at that squirrel that's 100 yards away. For herding breeds like border collies, this eye is almost like their superpower. The very tool they use to control the livestock. This intense focus is the trigger for the rest of the sequence. Without the eye, the stalk and chase usually don't happen, but we'll get onto those bits very shortly. So this unwavering focus can be infuriating when it's aimed at something you really don't want them to chase. But we can channel this incredible power. The first way is with simple focus games. So hold a favourite toy or a tasty treat in your hand. The moment your dog's eyes lock into you, say yes and reward them. Slowly increase how long you ask them to sort of hold that focus before you give them the reward. And then make sure you start to add in a release cue like break. When you do this, shout break and then toss a toy or treat. You're teaching your dog locking into your focus is something you have to do to get the jackpot. You can also build this into your training ask for a watch me cue, reward them for making and holding eye contact with you, and then release them into a fun activity like a chase or a game of tug. By doing this, you're teaching your dog that breaking their focus on the squirrel to focus on you is the gateway to the fun that they crave, and suddenly you become more interesting and that squirrel that's running around out there. So next up is the stalk, and after the intense eye focus that they've had, we get on to one of the coolest parts of the sequence, the stalk. This is when your dog begins that slow, deliberate, almost cat-like creep towards their target. Their body gets low, their movements become silent, and every muscle is called with anticipation. You might see this when your dog is approaching a bird in your garden or even another dog in play. This isn't just about getting closer, it's about precision, control, and it's also a behavior that's deeply ingrained in many herding and hunting breeds. So instead of yanking them out of this beautiful instinctual behavior, we can give them a safe outlet. One of the best tools for this is the flirt pole. It's basically a fishing rod for dogs with a lure on the end. So to play the stalking game, you drag the lure slowly and erratically across the ground. Don't just whip it around, twitch it just enough to keep them hooked, encouraging that slow, creepy stalk. Let them get close, let them feel that tension build. Right before they pounce, you can move it into the next stage of the sequence. You can also play this indoors by dragging a toy on a string sort of slowly from maybe behind your couch. The key is slow, deliberate movement. It lets your dogs fully engage their mind and their body. This is a huge mental workout, and it really scratches an itch that a simple game of fetch just can't reach. Next up is the chase. So after the quiet tension of that stalk, the sequence explodes into the chase. This is that thrilling, full-speed pursuit of a moving target. For most dogs, the chase is one of the most self-rewarding parts of the whole pattern. The adrenaline rush that they get from sprinting after a ball or a frisbee is just pure, uncut joy. This is why so many dogs are obsessed with playing fetch, why a fleeing squirrel can short-circuit their brain. So, because the chase is so intoxicating, giving them a safe outlet is non-negotiable to prevent them from sort of chasing dangerous things like cars, cyclists, or other animals. And we can be the providers of this ultimate thrill. Again, the flirt pole is a superstar here. So after a good stalk, you can speed up the lure, moving it in wide arcs and zigzags to encourage that full speed chase in a controlled space. It's much safer than letting them just run loose in an unfenced area. And of course, there's the classic fetch. But to make it a bit more exciting, try rolling the ball along the ground instead of just throwing it. The erratic bounces that the ball makes, it makes that chase that little bit more engaging for the dogs. And finally, never underestimate the power of chasing you. Recall games and hide and seek are amazing ways to satisfy this urge while building an incredible bond with you. Have someone hold your dog while you run and hide, and then call them with excitement. And the game becomes about chasing you, their favourite person, which is obviously the ultimate prize. So, if you're having some aha moments and already thinking of new ways to play with your dog, do me a quick favour, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. We create in-depth guides like this every week to help you understand your dog and help you understand your dog on a deeper level. When you subscribe, you help us keep making content for dedicated dog lovers like you. So please hit that button, like, subscribe. Thank you very much. Next up comes the grab bite. So the climax of the chase comes the grab bite. This is the moment the dog successfully catches the target with its mouth. It's not the damaging bite, that might come later. It's a satisfying act of capture. In fetch, it's your dog snatching the ball mid-air. For many breeds like retrievers, this is where selective breeding told them to stop, to grab and hold gently without damaging. So, fulfilling the grab bite is crucial for dogs who live for their toys. The perfect game for this is tug of war. Use a good sturdy tug toy. You can let your dog get a secure grip and hold on. Tug is a fantastic way to build confidence and also provides a wonderful outlet for this instinct. So providing a variety of soft toys they can easily pick up and carry is another great way to satisfy this need. Encourage them to grab a toy and bring it to you, rewarding them for retrieving and carrying. This channels that grab bite into a cooperative game and makes it a team. Now, this next one sounds intense, but stick with me. The kill bite. So in the wild, this is the final fatal bite. But in our pet dogs, this instinct is usually comes out as sort of like a vigorous side-to-side shaking of a toy. If you've ever seen your dog grab a stuffed animal and thrash it with wild abandon, you've witnessed a modified kill bite. Terriers, for example, were specifically bred to be pros at this part of the sequence. While the name is gruesome, the behaviour, it's natural and it's a necessary release for many dogs. And denying them an outlet for this can cause a lot of frustration. The key is to provide a safe and appropriate way for them to get it out of their system. So once again, tug games are a perfect choice for this. During a game of tug, let them shake the toy, let them put their whole body into it. This provides a huge physical and instinctual release in a nice controlled way. Just be sure that you've already taught a solid drop it cue so that you can safely end the game. So rope toys or other long durable toys are excellent for this because they can withstand all that shaking and giving your dog this outlet prevents them from sort of like redirecting that energy onto say your pillows or your shoes. It's all about channeling, not eliminating. Let's channel that kill bite. After the kill bite, the next stage in the full sequence is to dissect. This is the act of tearing and pulling something apart. Sort of in our homes, this is the dog we generally call the shredder. One who can't just squeak a toy, but must perform a full de-stuffing, pulling out every last bit of fluff with surgical precision. This isn't just destructive behaviour, even though it looks like it. It is actually the fulfillment of a deep instinct. So instead of constantly buying expensive toys just to watch them get destroyed, we can provide cheap, safe, and supervised ways to meet this need. So one of the best and the cheapest ways is by giving your dog a cardboard box to shred. Take an empty cereal box or one of those many Amazon packaging boxes that we get. Toss a few treats inside and just let your dog go to town on it. They'll get immense satisfaction from the ripping and tearing, and you get a nice easy cleanup job. But just remember, always supervise and make sure your dog isn't swallowing large pieces of cardboard. You can also create dissection toys, so wrap some treats tightly in an old towel or stuff them inside layers of packaging paper. Again, the goal is to give them something that they're allowed to tear apart, and this satisfies their need in a way that's safe for them to do so and saves your cushions from having the same fate as their fluffy toys. And on to the last part of the predatory motor pattern, and that is consume. So, like I said, consume is the act of eating. And for our dogs, this is the one part of the pattern that we guarantee that they get to do every day. But unfortunately, we usually deliver it in the most boring way possible, just by dumping their food into a bowl. Meal's over in 30 seconds, providing absolutely zero mental stimulation. So switching my meal time from a 30-second snarl fest into a brain game is one of the best things you can do for your dog. So instead of a bowl, you use food puzzles, Kongs, or snuffle mats. These tools require your dog to use their brain, their nose, and the paws to figure out how to get their food, making them use their minds just like they would do when they're in the wild. So long-lasting chews, licky mats, they're also fantastic ways of satisfying this urge. Licking and chewing are naturally calming behaviours for dogs, so providing these outlets can also help them decompress after an exciting day. Making them work for their food provides that satisfying end to that predatory motor pattern and to their day. So there you have it. Orient, eye, stalk, chase, grab bite, kill bite, dissect and consume. This isn't just a list of behaviours, it's a window into your dog's mind. It's the software that's been running their brains for thousands of years. So here's the biggest takeaway. These aren't bad behaviours to be punished or suppressed. They're fundamental needs that just have to be met. When you see your dog staring intently at a bird, instead of frustration, feel understanding. Why do you want to shred a toy? See it not as destruction, but as deep-seated instinct crying out for an outlet. Your job isn't to fight against your dog. It's to step up and be the person who provides safe, fun, and creative ways for them to be their true, authentic selves. Start observing your dog today. Which parts of this sequence do they love most? Is your dog a master stalker, a champion chaser, or a dedicated dissector? Let me know in the comments below which one or two predatory motor patterns your dog expresses the most. Love to hear about it. And if you found this video helpful, you see your dog in a new light, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our next one. By working with your dog's nature, not against it, you're on the path to building a partnership that's deeper, more joyful, and more fun than you could have ever imagined.